Have you ever found yourself just staring at a task? You know you need to do it, but you end up doing literally everything else instead? Yeah, that feeling is completely universal. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into the key ideas from the secret of getting started and actually build a practical blueprint to help you conquer procrastination for good. So let's dive right in.
I mean, isn't that the truth? This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Procrastination isn't some deep personal failing. It's just a deeply ingrained part of being human. And, just recognizing that, just accepting it, that's the real first step toward actually changing it.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by exploring the invisible wall of procrastination. Then we'll get into the power of starting, see how to rewire your mind, and finally, piece it all together to build your own personal blueprint so that this progress actually sticks.
Okay, first up, section 1, the invisible wall. And honestly, this is the perfect metaphor for understanding why we delay things.
Just think about it for a second. The task itself, writing the email, making the call, starting the workout, it's rarely as hard as we build it up to be in our heads. The real challenge? It's that feeling of heavy resistance right before you begin, that invisible wall that just feels impossible to push through. And this brings us to a really crucial insight. Procrastination isn't a time management problem. It's an emotion management problem. Seriously, it's a defense mechanism. Your brain is actively trying to protect you from difficult feelings like anxiety or self-doubt or even just boredom. It's emotional avoidance, not laziness. And these right here, these are the usual suspects behind that avoidance. You've got the fear of failure, which says, hey, if I don't even try, I can't possibly fail. Then there's the fear of success, asking, what if I actually succeed and I can't handle the new expectations? Perfectionism whispers in your ear, if it's not going to be perfect, it's not even worth doing. And of course, good old overwhelm just shuts the whole system down. So take a second and really think about this. Which one of these truly resonates with you? Identifying your specific trigger is absolutely key. Is it that fear of being judged or just the massive size of the task? Knowing what builds your wall is the very first step to tearing it down. All right, moving on to section 2, the power of starting. So we've identified the wall. Now let's talk about how to punch right through it. This brings us to a cool concept from science called activation energy. You see, just like in a chemical reaction, every action we take requires an initial burst of energy just to get it going. So our goal isn't to somehow find this massive reserve of willpower out of nowhere. No, it's to make that initial push, that activation energy, as small and as effortless as possible. And here are 3 incredibly simple ways to lower that barrier. First, the 5-minute rule. Just commit to doing the thing for 5 minutes. That's it. The funny thing is, once you start, momentum often just takes over. Second, lower the bar. Seriously, give yourself permission to do a bad first draft. The goal is just to get it done, not make it perfect. And third, create a starting ritual. Maybe it's a specific song you play or making a cup of tea. It acts as a trigger that tells your brain, okay, it's time to begin. And here's a more detailed toolkit for you. We've got micro steps. Break a huge task like write a book down into something tiny, like open the document. There's time framing, using things like the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, to create focused sprints. You can also optimize your environment by getting rid of distractions. And finally, accountability. Just telling a friend your goal makes you way more likely to actually do it. Okay, so we've got our tools for taking action. Now let's move into the internal work with part 3, rewiring your mind. Because believe me, how you talk to yourself changes literally everything. This is so powerful. Just look at the shift here. From feeling obligated and scared to feeling empowered and optimistic. Instead of thinking, I have to finish this report, try reframing it as, I choose to finish this report so I can feel accomplished. This simple little switch changes your entire relationship with the task. Sometimes the resistance goes even deeper. A writer might put off finishing their book to avoid the potential judgment that comes with publishing it. Or a manager might avoid delegating work to maintain their sense of control. In both cases, not doing the task is actually protecting their self-image. Procrastination becomes a shield for their identity. So this is a big question, and it's worth sitting with. What identity are you protecting by procrastinating? Are you trying to protect your identity as the smart one by avoiding a task where you might look foolish? Or maybe the capable one by avoiding a challenge you might fail? This requires some real, honest self-reflection. Okay, let's talk about how to make all of this last.
Part 4 is all about building sustainable momentum. This isn't about one single heroic push. It's about creating a system that keeps you going day in and day out. The key here is creating a positive feedback loop. When you finish a small task, you have to actually celebrate it. That little action releases dopamine in your brain, which makes you want to do it again. It helps to visualize your progress with a tracker or pair a tough task with something you enjoy. And this is the most important one, always remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place.
I absolutely love this quote. It reframes discipline entirely. It's not about punishment or forcing yourself to do things. It's just a simple act of remembering your long-term goals over your short-term discomfort. Now let's look at this from a slightly different angle. Part 5 is about finding inner stillness. You see, procrastination really thrives on anxiety about the future. Mindfulness is the tool that brings us right back to the present moment. And these practices are so simple, but they're incredibly effective. Before you start a task you're dreading, just take 3 deep breaths. Notice the tension you're holding in your shoulders and consciously let it go. And just observe your anxious thoughts without judging them, letting them pass by like clouds. This creates the calm mental space you need to actually focus. Okay, it's time to put it all together. Our final section is about creating your very own personalized system, your procrastination blueprint. And maybe the most important part of any system is knowing what to do when you inevitably slip up. Because you will. It's not about never failing. It's about how fast you recover. Don't spiral into shame. Just pause, figure out what happened, reset with one tiny little step, and remember your why. And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. We can search for all the life hacks and tools in the world, but the real secret is realizing that the power to act, even imperfectly, has been right inside you all along. So what's the one thing you should take away from all of this? It's this final, powerful command. You don't have to feel ready. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just take the smallest possible step, even if you're afraid. Just start.